Hello fellow sim racers. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my new Sim Lab GT1 Evo cockpit, detailing the build and talking about the pros and cons of this particular sim racing rig. First up, I have to say thank you to Richard from Sim Lab who sent me the cockpit. He didn't ask me to review it, but I'm going to anyway. So with that out of the way, let me take you through some of the basics of the Sim Lab GT1 Evo. The rig is constructed from extruded aluminium profile and bespoke plate sections on which you can attach your wheelbase and pedals. This all comes together to form a very rigid, lightweight cockpit that provides almost limitless options for attaching sim racing gear and for expansion and modification in the future, but more on that later. The rig isn't supplied with a seat, leaving it up to the buyer's personal preference. I elected to buy a Sparco R100 sport seat, but thanks to the nature of the design, you can mount pretty much any type of car seat you like. If you're unsure of what you want or confused by the options, then SimLab can also supply you with an appropriate seat. The frame of the GT1 Evo is constructed from various lengths of aluminium extrusion, in my case nicely finished in black, but a silver grey colour is also available. These are held together using a selection of rugged cast brackets, high quality T-slot nuts and socket cap screws. This produces a firm, rigid connection that can be placed anywhere you like along the profile. Assembly of the rig itself took around 3 hours, and it was incredibly straightforward. The process is so simple that I didn't really feel the need to document it in detail here. You take a piece of extrusion, attach the fixings shown in the instructions, and then attach the next one. Mounting the seat took a little bit more effort to get everything aligned, but after a bit of cajoling, everything fit perfectly and securely. The pedal plate and wheel deck are constructed from a thick non-ferrous metal, which I presume is aluminium. These are more than strong and stable enough for the job. However, make sure you use washers when attaching items directly to them, otherwise you run the risk of damaging the metal if you over-tighten any of the fixings. The completed rig is impressively strong, stable, and importantly, rigid. Those that are familiar with my old setup will know that I was having issues with flex in the wheel deck that was causing pretty considerable movement under force feedback load. With the GT1 Evo, there's not a hint of movement in the wheel deck, pedal plate, or in the seat, which makes driving the rig with high force feedback settings a worry-free experience. But beyond that, having a reliable and stable platform helps both performance and immersion, as I can devote more of my focus to the sim itself. Beyond the dependability of the build, where a rig like this really shines is in the flexibility with which you can mount your sim racing hardware. This has been a bugbear of mine with previous rigs, which have needed gradual upgrades and modifications to cope with my ever-evolving sim racing setup. The GT1 Evo kit already catered for my Fanatec Club Sport pedals, and with the addition of the separately available SimLab Midge motor mount, the wheel was also taken care of. But for the first time, I was able to bolt my direct drive emergency stop button straight to the rig without modification. And the same goes for the Thrustmaster TH8A shifter, and later the TSS handbrake Sparco mod. At present, the only items I haven't been able to mount are my 2 Stream Decks, and that's simply because I haven't got around to purchasing a keyboard tray yet. So, the SimLab GT1 Evo is a very competent sim rig, but moreover, it's pretty competitively priced as well. At around €400, depending on the options you select, it stacks up pretty well against the competition. Of course, since you have to buy the seat separately, this does have a bearing on the final cost of the rig, but that can range from a few quid for a second-hand car seat from eBay up to a full FIA-approved carbon fibre GT seat that costs enough for your friends to hold an intervention. I went for a Sparco sport seat mainly because it has to look nice on camera. But otherwise, budget, sport and bucket seats are easy to get hold of if you want to keep costs under control. For me, the killer feature of the GT1 Evo is its expandability. For many of us, sim racing is a hobby that we stick with for a long time, and we tend to tweak our setups, upgrade, sidegrade, downgrade, and just plain old splurge on new kit whenever the mood takes us. With a fixed rig, this can prove problematic. As I found myself, my old rig had become a mishmash of parts, jerry-rig components and repurposed brackets thrown together to try and get everything to work nicely. With an aluminium extrusion rig, you have the ability to add, remove or alter things very easily. It's dead simple. Slide in a couple of T-nuts and bolt on another length of extrusion. And mounting accessories is equally simple as the whole thing's modular. which makes the mounting hardware straightforward and affordable. Now, as much as I like the GT1 Evo, there are a couple of things that I think Sim Lab could improve. First up, the arm that's designed to support your shifter is only connected at one end, which means that it does have a small amount of flexibility. This isn't an issue with something like the THA-A or a Fanatec shifter, but I found that the TSS handbrake with its leverage enhancing handle does cause a small amount of movement. And I suspect this would be the case for other shifters that require more force. This is far from problematic, but it could easily be addressed by adding an upright section of profile, as Sim Lab have done with their P1 cockpit. The other aspect that could probably be refined is the instructions, which are pretty bare bones. I had no problems following the schematic, though others may prefer a more conventional step-by-step approach. Again, this is by no means a major issue, but if you're the sort of person that's deathly afraid of Swedish flat-pack furniture, you may want to watch Barry Rowland's excellent build video over on the Sim Racing Garage YouTube channel. All in all, the Sim Lab GT1 Evo is a great rig. It performs admirably, it's competitively priced, and in my opinion at least, it looks the part as well. The quality of the bespoke parts is absolutely excellent, and when it's fully assembled, the GT1 Evo provides a very stable platform for your sim rig. But for me, the expandability and flexibility of hardware mounting that this rig offers over some of the other more fixed designs makes this rig stand out above many of its competitors. And unless you have serious aspirations for a more extreme or niche rig setup, I think the GT1 Evo has all of the bases covered. So that brings us to the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it would be great if you could hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos like this in future. So all that's left to say is goodbye. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.